So, for those of you who it would benefit, if you're watching this right now, by all means, make your presence known in the by typing something in the chat. I am going to be making a tutorial on how to make a custom empire for Space Empires 4, and um, this tutorial has been requested at least once, but I'm going to save it as a highlight on my Twitch account and also export it to YouTube. So even if you don't see this while it's on Twitch, it will be saved for later. However, if you talk to me in the chat, I can respond and answer any questions that you might have. So, without further ado, let's get the show on the road. Alright, so, yeah. So, I am going to be making a brand new empire. There are empires that I've been meaning to add in a Space Empires 4 mod that I'm making called the Warhammer 40,000 mod. I made a link to it on Steam, and I put it over here in general discussions for Space Empires 4 Deluxe on Steam. So, if that interests you, you should check that out. Okay. So, let's see. Let's take it from the top. So, this right here is the Space Empires 4 folder. Awesome. Thank you very much for posting in the chat to let me know that it works and all. Who is that? Alright. So, I'm about to explain how to make your own empire in Space Empires 4. Now, there are a couple empires for my Warhammer 40,000 mod that I haven't made yet, so I'm going to make it right in front of you so you can see exactly the process, how it works. Now, I have not done this on this computer, so here's my Space Empires 4 folder, and this right here is my Warhammer 40,000 folder. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm not going to show you how to make a whole mod. Usually to do that, you would copy like certain folders from here, and you create like you copy these folders that you see in the Space Empires 4 folder. You create a new folder that is going to be your mod folder, like I don't know, Animal Wars, and whatever folders you would need, you take over there. Blah blah blah. I'm not going to get into that too much today. I'm just going to show you the process that I use to create my own empire. So, for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to be making a full race. Making a neutral power is not all that difficult. You take your AI files and maybe a few of these files here, which I'm going to show in the large icons, and you make them that way. There are every single empire, no matter what that empire is always going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 files that are non-standard. The race portrait, the population portrait, the mini portrait, the shields, the explosions, and the main file, which is basically just, if I could zoom in on this. This is your flag. This is the flag but smaller. This is the faction color, and these are the 3 kinds of missiles that they use. This is not a very good example because they're all the same. This is a better example, I think. I think this is a regular missile. I think this is a plasma missile, and I think this is like a seeking parasite or a crystalline torpedo. Flag but smaller. The faction color. So we're going to make a regular empire. So I'm in this folder over here, I have my races folder, and over here I have a folder under mods. I think it's under new races. No, it's not under there. Extra Space Empires, 4 Empires, 40k Empires. I already started work on Hive Fleet Kraken and Imperial Fists and Iron Warriors, so I wasn't going to do that for this demonstration. I'm going to do Eldar Ion Den so you can see the entire process. You can see everything. Now, I could make my own AI, but that would make this take a lot longer. And I'm just going to take a pre-existing AI, and I'm just going to copy that and then change some stuff. And you'll see the process that I use to do that. So, I could just copy the AI for Craft World Ulthway. They use the Starship Troopers AI. Though, I feel like that would be very unoriginal. So, I'm thinking, instead of doing that, I'll just take a different Psychic Power AI. I don't want to use the Gron Hive AI for the simple fact that they are already... the Gron Hive's AI is already taken by the Thousand Sons. However, I think I see an AI that looks very interesting. So there's this mod called the TDM Remod Pack, and that has a bunch of empires that have really good AI. So I'm gonna look for the ones that have psychic powers. Now, does Ku Kappa in this mod have psychic powers? They do. And both the Abaddon Enclave and the Ku Kappa are very viable choices. I'm going to take the Ku Kappa AI because I think that that's closer to what I want. Alright. So, I'm going to do this next. I'm going to press F2 to go to rename. Control C, which copies that text. And then I'm going to hit F2. You could also right click and then rename, but that just takes a lot longer. So I just hit F2. It does the same thing. I like using hotkeys. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask in the chat and I will respond. Yeah. So this process is kind of tedious. I have a tendency to listen to stuff in the background when I do this because I know what to do. I'm used to it. It is kind of cheap to just copy and paste AIs, but right now I just don't feel like reinventing the wheel. Because people spent like years perfecting this AI, and I feel like it would be kind of silly if I just kind of like took what was already like fixed and or just now I don't know if that speech is what I want, so I'm gonna look through the speech file to see if that would be Eldar like or if it wouldn't really be what I want. Yeah, this actually works well enough for now. So I'm going to go into the general text file and start renaming stuff. Um, Not a question about this specifically, but I've been playing a game where I ran into the new Terran Confederation and have been at war with them, and I sweep the point with mines, but the game still considers the war point dangerous and won't let ships automatically go through that point. Is there anything that I can do about that? Off the top of my head, I don't know. Actually, now that I think about it, there may be a way to manually override that. Let me see. I don't know if there are any games that I have saved that have like minefields that were considered to be dangerous. I really don't like it when Discord interferes with my ability to do shit. There's a lot of this stuff that I've never messed with before. So, this is an old game. This was from 2012. I largely forgot about it. The Narn were just sweeping the board. Okay, here we go. Is there a way to fix this? Let's see. Well, there's this option. I don't know if there's a hotkey that you can press that gets rid of that. So I really don't know the answer. I am sorry about that. Now where was I? Okay. So I had Google already opened. For the biological society in general description, I tend to just copy stuff that's on the internet and paste it. Although I think I have some of the Craftworld Oathway and Bill Tan. I think I don't know. I'm just gonna copy and paste a lot of different things. Inden Craftworld that specializes in. I forget what does Craftworld Inden specialize in. Well, I know that they are primarily against the Tyranids. So they really specialize on Wraith constructs. And use Wraith constructs are the Tyranids. Okay. Well, we could save that so far. It's not going to let me do it. Alright. I'm going to have to save it to my desktop. That's stupid. Alright, where is it? Can't I have... I want this in a new window. I really... This is starting to irritate the heck out of me. How, like, instead of it being in two different windows, it's in, like... Malevolent. Wow. They misspelled stuff. Okay. So, we're changing the text here. Inden Craft World. And that's not what I wanted to do. Craft World. Farseer, as what I'm guessing their leader is. I don't know. I don't think they really have a leader. Kelmon. So they do have, their leader is a Farseer, and the name is Kelmon. So I guess what we'll do is we will kind of like read through their history. Now, anything that is just like very basic about the Eldar, we'll just copy and paste that just straight up, because there's no real need to reinvent the wheel. Now, I've said this to Agent Bird in private, but for anybody else who might watch this later, you cannot have this in like paragraphs. Like, you can't do this, because this will actually make the Empire not work. Having these like paragraph spaces, so it has to be like this. Society description. What is a... That's actually pretty good for a history blurb. So I'm going to put that right there. Paste. Always save your progress with Control S, so that way if you accidentally close out of this, it's not going to be a big deal. I don't know if there's a way to. Let me see if I can get 1d6 chan INN. I want, like, I don't want there to be too much stuff. Oh, I gotta be careful. Because this is an NSFW website. I might not be able to, because I noticed that some of the stuff they have on here is not safe for Twitch. Well, that wasn't very helpful. So, I might use this picture of this Eldar Farseer as the avatar for Craft World Ienden. I can't seem to find a picture of their main leader, which is Kelmon Firesight. Maybe I'll find, like, yeah, like this picture is what comes up. This is not even. Alright. Alright. So I'll just treat this like a recording. But thank you for chatting, just so that way I can tell, make sure that the chat box is working. Alright. So, because I have no one to talk to, I'll probably be slightly less talkative. So, since this is probably like the closest we're going to get to an avatar, we're going to save this image, and we'll use that later. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm filling in the society description. Now, if you're making a custom empire that is like brand new, or like something that's completely original, you could put it whatever you want there. I'm putting what I believe would be maybe I'll just put this. I'll just put that over here. Craft World Inden backstory. I don't want to waste too much time with this. Let's just copy and paste this. I only do that when I'm very lazy. But I think I can be excused this time around. And I don't want Alabama to be the name file. So Wizard works perfectly for Craftworld Ulthway. What did I choose for Biltan? Let's see, what's general? Jennifer. I don't know why I chose that, but what I'm going to do, so the design name file is largely self-explanatory. So design name, this is a list of text files with a bunch of names in them. This doesn't have that many. But this has got like a list of words. It's very simple to make. You just have words, and they have to be separated. They can't be side by side. They have to be top down like this, exactly like this. And what'll happen is when you're choosing a name for your ship designs, or when the AI does it, it chooses one of those names. So I'm going to choose one for Craftworld Inden. Now, of course, if I really wanted to, I could create my own, and it would be legit. But I just don't feel like doing that. Azarani. There we go. That'll be what I... There. How about that? I don't care. So, that's what I care to change. Demeanor is flavor text. Culture and happiness type are not flavor text. This will actually have an impact on the game. These are also not flavor text. This will actually affect how they play. So they get psychic powers, which is awesome. Awesome possum. Maybe too many awesomes. Alright. So I think that's good. Personality group is 1. Actually, I think what I'm going to want to do... I shouldn't have closed out of that other window. I wasn't thinking. Personality group is 1. So the Eldar are all personality group 1. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that's all this stuff. And now we go for having I like to copy files that have the exact file type, bitmap images, and the exact picture size and everything. I'll just copy something pre-existing and paste them over here. And then we got to go through all of these and rename all of them and then we have to change the names of all of them. This is not going to be a fun process. We literally have to go through all of these and change the name. And you might be wondering, wait, why am I just copying and pasting the pictures? Well, we're going to be changing the images, so that way it's different. And soon you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm hitting F2, Control V, Eldar Iron Den. Because while I could right-click, rename, and right-click and then paste, this is just a lot faster. Because this is a slow process. And what takes a lot longer is changing every single picture. But the nice thing is that sometimes it actually goes a little bit faster when... Sometimes it goes a little faster. I don't even remember what I was going to say. I totally forgot what I was going to say. I'm sorry. I can't think and do this at the same time. I don't know why it switched from details to... Yeah, I usually like having the text documents at the top. Usually when I do this, I like to play something in the background, like music or podcasts, and I'll listen to that while I do this, because this takes a long time. I am half tempted to do that. Though I'd have to find something that's not political or controversial. But you know what? It might drive up engagement. Yeah, for doing this, I like using I have it set to details. But then when I'm changing the images, I like to do large icons. Some of the ships that you'll notice are actually just Minbari ships that have been palette swapped. Because I don't think the Eldar really have colony ships. So, I just took a Minbari colony ship and I just decided, okay, it's now Eldar. Because their ships do kind of look similar. Probably similar concept. Which makes it easy to choose to do so. Built-in Iron Den. Okay. This is just going to be kind of a pain in the ass of a process. Well, the next process is actually going to be even more annoying. And then big explosion. Everybody has to have those files. Large icons. So, as you probably guessed, we will be changing a lot of these. Alright. So this is one we're definitely going to be changing. And we use Microsoft Paint. So I use the Almond Cree as a basis for Build-Tan. I use the Almond Cree flag color and missiles, and then I changed the flag and color but kept the missiles because I feel like the Almond Cree missiles work perfectly fine with Craft World Build-Tan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find an empire that has the yellow, and I think I can think of one. I think I can think of one. Maybe I'll just go into the mod that my dad made. Because I could use the Fang Confederation, their missiles, or I could go into the Velon. I think the Velon was a Fang offshoot. And I think that theirs actually would probably make more sense for the Eldar. And select all. This makes it... The new versions of Microsoft Paint make doing this a lot easier. I really hate that they're making this frickin' Windows. Ugh. Well, I hope I'm not blowing out your eardrums with my discontent with Windows Dickory. Okay. Wait a minute. I have an idea. Not gonna outsmart me. There we go. Hey, that worked. It's always a workaround. IENDEN banner. Yeah, so this is a vertical banner. I want one that's horizontal. (18 by 18). And that is why you do this in alright. Snipping tool makes this a lot more convenient. And I'm going to make the background color gold. And the way I'm going to do that is by opening this up in GIMP. And yeah, I got the new one. For a long time I was using the previous color picker. There we go. Look at how good that came out. There it is. Copy. And that right there is smack dab in the center. (10 by 10). Alright. can tell what I'm doing here. So I'm just taking all this and I'm changing the color like that. Actually, I'm going to make that the color of Iyanden. And there we go. That's how you change the flag and banner. So that's all good. We no longer need this. We can get rid of that. Did I not change that at all? What? Oh. I was ready to freak out. So this is misleading. I did change it. This is what it's supposed to look like. Okay. Let's change the race portrait next. Now you want usually you want to have the background black, so that way when you mouse over it, see how the background is like, well, I mean this background is not perfect, but notice how the background has that grid in the back. I chose the Babylon. Usually it's like gray or dark blue, but the Babylon 5 mod has it be yellow. It's got that Dijon mustard, like spicy mustard look to it. Don't know how I feel about that. Usually it would look like this. Get out of my way. See how if it's not perfectly black, it will be all splotchy. If it wasn't properly like, the background wasn't properly like removed, then it'll be all splotchy. It's just kind of like, it just makes it look better. Anyway, let's get to it. So this, of course, has to be 128 by 128 exactly, no exceptions. Which is why I usually like to take pre-existing pictures and then just paste on top of it the thing that I want. Now, normally I would probably, like, if I was doing this by myself, I would probably be just, like, having the different pictures on different screens. But since I'm doing this on Twitch, since I'm streaming this, I'm going to try to do it on my primary monitor. Because the other monitors I use for, like, Twitch moderation purposes, which is why you don't see them. Okay. So this has to be 128 by 128. So I just got 322 by 322, and I am going to hit this tool, and that will crop the picture to this. Although, I could crop it again. And normally I would black out the background, but I don't know if I'll do it for him. Maybe I would do it just to show you how to do it. I mean, you basically just like go into GIMP and you black out the background. Do I want to do it? You know what? I will do it, actually. I will do that. Because I want you to learn. And you're not going to learn if I don't show you. So, this is what I would do. We'd have to choose black. And it's got to be all zeros. It's got to be pitch black. We're going to be zooming in on this. And we need to make this as black as possible without getting it on the farseer. So that means we have to find the perfect threshold. That's not what I wanted to do. The thing that I don't like about this is that it just seems to not want to cooperate sometimes. I don't know what I hit that screwed it up, but because it's making stuff black that shouldn't be. Because I want to get those white borders out. Yeah, that's obviously not the one we want. How does this look from far away? I don't like how... I really hate it when I clicked once. I really don't like it when it does this. This is what you would be seeing in game, basically. It would be this big. I think it looks good enough. and then we have to make it 128 by 128 exactly. We select all, Control C to copy it, and then we go over here, and it, both pictures have to be open at the same time in Paint, otherwise it doesn't work. Control V, and then boom. All right, and that actually works in pretty much all of the different things. I'm gonna be honest, I'm tempted to take some of the Fong's like space stations and stuff and just give it to Craft World Iron Den. Whatever I could get away with, basically. In all honesty, I'm tempted to palette swap whatever doesn't have what is that? Was that an old Eldar Titan? These look old, but cool. Just looking at how they're painted. This website called Hub Pages is really good for getting Eldar ships. Let's see. This would be Craft World Iron Den, not Eliatok. Let's see. Craft World Iron Den. Where's the escort? Let's see. Destroyer. There's a frigate. Frigate. I'll do like one demonstration of doing a ship, and then I will probably call it a night. Usually I do it in order, but since I had this one open already, I'll just do that. I really should have done the battle cruiser because that one is the one that's going to show up when you choose an empire. Yeah, I will open up this in Paint. Why not? go. That should get rid of most of the black background. I'm sure if you squint you could see what I didn't get, but I could just get that with I could get that with GIMP very easily. I don't know why it keeps bringing that up, but it is annoying. I think it's a Hemlock Destroyer. Alright. So to emphasize that this ship is relatively small, I would make it less than 128 wide, so that way it looks smaller. 2, 5. And then copy that to here. Alright. And I don't know why it's not showing up here, but this is what the new ship looks like. And tomorrow I will do all the rest of these, but I think that that should give you an idea as to how this works. So I will continue this tomorrow, and I'll probably do it in the morning, even if Agent Bird isn't here to watch it. I'm gonna make this a two-parter, and the second part will be done tomorrow. But you get the idea as to how this works. One last thing I will add is that, and I told him this as well, but there's a little .exe file called the style tester. If you go through your list, if you go through custom made empires and it comes with one of these, take it, copy it, and put it in your empire folder. Now, basically what this little program does is it helps make sure that your pictures don't crash the game. So it'll have your portraits on the left and the overhead sprites on the right. And if you go through all these and it doesn't crash, then that means it works. And what this does is it also shows you what it looks like in game. So even though over here this didn't change and this didn't change, they did in here. And this is what matters, because this is what they're going to look like. Although this one changed, I don't know why. So this is what you will see, this flag and this portrait in the game. And I think what I'll do is I'll actually just add it. It's technically like ready to be, it's actually technically ready to play. So I could just bring this straight over to here. It's technically functional. Now obviously we still want to change all these pictures so that way we don't confuse it with built-in. But I can go into Space Empires, the Warhammer 40,000 mod, and let me... I do this to see if it'll load up. And when this stops getting in my way, there it is. Iyanden Craft World. Biltan Craft World, Altway Craft World, and Iyanden Craft World are the 3 craft worlds. So if we switch to that empire and it does not crash the game, well, no, it won't crash the game. If it doesn't work properly, it'll say, you lose. And it works. It works. So when I save Empire, when I save empires to add it to this list, so that way you can just load it up, I like to do some things. Empire status, empire options. I like to have this selected, so that way this pops up. I like to have only latest selected. Hide obsolete, no obsolete, create only latest. That way, this if you do decide to just load up this empire, a lot of these presets will be chosen, and this will be a lot easier to play. Save empire, yes. Eldar Iyanden 2000. If it turns out this shade of gold has already been taken, then I can just choose a different color. I could figure out a different color for Iyanden. Because we could always change that later, no big deal. But for now, that kind of shows you the basics of how to do this. So I hope that has been helpful for you. Until next time, tomorrow. Mañana.